Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, and thanks for tuning in today. I really think that whatever vehicle we use to go along our timeline went off into a ditch somewhere, and we're all wandering around going, what happened? What hit us? Because that's how I feel. I'm pretty sure that's how you feel. Today, we're going to be talking politics. I'm going to be talking about gosh, I don't even know where to start really, actually, but I also need to start with this, which is let's all take a deep breath. Relax. Okay, there. Maybe we need to do another deep breath, right? Okay, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. Trust me, we're going to get through this together. And we're going to get through this all together in the same country. We don't all have to flee. It's going to be okay. Now, between here and when it's going to be okay is pretty rocky. Okay, it's pretty scary. That's why I'm here to talk to you. This is the third video I've done that I did not publish the other two. For one thing, news is moving too fast. And for another thing, my energy is just not, I don't know. Anyway, here we are. So I want to tell you that I really do see everything being okay. However, to get there, we have to have some changes. This is what Spirit Guide's been saying, right? And how we're going to get those changes is through people like 45 and Elon just wrecking the joint, right? Just going in and wrecking it so that we can then pick up the pieces and say, you know what, now that everything's kind of been dismantled for us, we want to keep this, or we don't want to keep that, or this is super important to us, right? This is how transformation happens. You cannot transform if you don't break everything down or move past who you were or what you were. This is transformation. We are in a transformation event in the whole world. It's not just the United States, but the United States is having its moment on the stage right now. Let me just start off by saying, yes, Elon's little kids are running around the State Department or the Treasury, or God only knows where they are at this point. And they're trying to get their little, grubby hands all over everything. And they're trying to subvert, or what's that word they're using? By the way, if you're new here, thanks for joining. I am channeling 60% Spirit Guides, 40% Susan. Subvert, right? Subvert, subversion. I think that's it, but there's another word. But anyway, they're trying to subvert uh, what is happening. They're trying to subvert the money. Okay, there's a couple of things going on, right? We know the playbook by now, which is get back at anybody who said anything not nice to me. So that's retribution. And the other part of the playbook is grifting to the max. Okay, so they're in the Department of Treasury, they're in these departments for those reasons. First of all, it turns out that allegedly US aid, which is the aid we give to other countries, was investigating SpaceX for some of the things they've done in other countries, like maybe Ukraine. So, what happens is the first thing he does is want to X or get rid of US aid. But also, this dovetails what the Spirit Guide said months ago, that USA would become more isolationist, that the people in the country wanted less money to go to other countries. Now, this is mostly because they've been fed this dialogue, this steady diet of mis and disinformation about why that money goes to other places. And also, it's pretty nice to say, the money's going over there. It's not me, the billionaire, taking the money. It's not me. You got to look over there, right? So it's a distraction. So this is one of the reasons why he's in there, is to basically get back at US aid, but also to keep him from being investigated, which is also, turns out, the reason why 45 is in office, because if he got to be president, he couldn't be in jail. So pretty simple, right? Pretty easy to understand what's going on. Now, I feel like what they're doing in there is harmful. The guides just keep saying they're dismantling. Okay. Now, the other thing you should know is the The software that runs our country is like so old that it's like AOL dial up. Do some of y'all remember when you used to have to dial up to get on the internet? That's how old this software is. These young kids don't know how to run it. They don't know what to do with it. It doesn't mean they can't wreck it. Doesn't mean they can't hurt it or take it offline. It doesn't mean any of those things. It also, the guides always say, they're not trying to build anything. They're just trying to wreck everything. This is basically like pillaging. They want to pillage it all. They want all the money to come to them. Okay, that's it. Get retribution and give me all the money. Basically, they're robbing us. Okay, so having said all that, here's a fascinating tidbit. The spirit guide said way back before the E thing that we did with the ballots that there would be civil servants that would leave code or leave a crumb in the code, in the coding. Remember, they said they gave me the image of the FBI person spitting their coffee out because we're like, wow, it's right there. Like, if you knew where to look, it was there. Okay. So this is interesting because that's what they said months and months and months ago. But the energy is still prevalent. And what I think is interesting is that this karmic energy, it's like it doesn't just stop. If the energy is codes and coding and software, and that's how you're grifting off of us, then that will also be how you will be found out. So the energy went from figuring out the ELECTION to now figuring out that they're doing this work to usurp, maybe that was the word they were looking for earlier, our power and our money. They're leaving behind lots and lots of evidence. Okay. So I think it's interesting that the karma is still chasing them. Remember, the spirit guides always say, they always use the analogy of the German guy that escapes, from being imprisoned, even though he's done crimes, and he lives until he's 80 when they finally find him and they bring him to justice. Justice doesn't sleep. It's always seeking out the balancing. Maybe it takes longer than we want, but it's always seeking out the balancing. And that's what I think is happening here. That the coding energy went from the code is there, the message, the whistleblower, remember that? The whistleblowers left the message in the coding. Also, it continues in these government employees. They're leaving messages everywhere in the coding that will keep these kids, these geek kids that Elon has sicked on us, from doing what they want to do. Now, I do not think that they're going to be able to get a Brinks truck and usurp a bunch of money. I don't think they're going to rob us blind and leave. I don't see that happening. What I see happening is, to me, this is how it has to go down. Okay. The protests are not going to do it. I mean, I'm not saying don't protest. I'm saying do that. But I would also just say quickly, if you are going to do that, don't stand out. Wear a mask, wear sunglasses, and text as many people or somehow get in the message out for everybody to wear gray hoodies and black pants. All look the same, so they can't pick you out. Two people can play this game, right? They want to play a game with the American people. We can play a game back. Do not stand out. Cover your tattoos. Do not stand out. If you got blue hair, you better be wearing a wig or you better be doing something. Okay? So do the thing you got to do, but be very, very, very careful, because right now, this is a dangerous time. This is not a drill. This is a dangerous time. Even though I'm telling you everything is going to be okay, in the end, right now could be very dangerous for some people. Please take it seriously. Okay. Now, how I feel like this is going to break down for them, how I think it's not going to work, how they're not going to pull it off is, and my guides have given me this. I've been channeling every single morning. They've been giving me this information. I've been sharing it with my members. I have a membership for 12 bucks a month because it's safe and I have to be careful of my own self, right? And I'm working on creating a new membership that might be free so that it's almost like a port in the storm, a place where everybody can go to ride this out, because that's also the energy that they keep giving me. Is what I'm about to tell you is what you need to know. Is it's like if you know a winter storm is coming, but you got to go to work. So what do you guys do up there? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure some of you guys have snacks in the car, right? Like you put it in a Tupperware so that the mice or bears don't get it. Down here, it'd be alligators, and they don't get in our cars, so we don't got that problem, okay? But for y'all might have to have a Tupperware with some power bars or something, right? Some kind of thing in case you get caught at work and you can't get home, or you get stranded on the side of the road and you can't get home. This is what I'm talking about here, is a port in the storm. I want you to be prepared for a period of time where things could be unpredictable. Okay, so that means having a couple of extra cans of soup or having whatever it is that you need to get through a couple of days or a week without services, let's just say, okay? Because the thing that's going to break their back, the thing that's going to keep them from doing the thing they want to do, which is take over the country and the world, is that the majority of Americans don't know this is happening, and they don't even really care, because when they go to the ATM, the money works. When they go to the gas pump, they get gas, they get their check from the government. It's okay. Everything is okay. Their job is still employing them. They're not, none of this matters to them. They think this is all a bunch of BS that they don't need to pay attention to. Okay. Now, I know this is true. You go around and ask people, they don't know. They know more about Travis and Taylor Swift than they know about what's happening right now at the Treasury Department. And you want to know what else? They care more about Beyonce. They care more about the Super Bowl. They care more about whatever it is than what's happening in the Treasury. They don't give a you know what. Okay? Now you can be mad at them. You can yell and scream. You can do whatever you want to do. That's free world. Do your thing, right? But they don't care. So what has to happen and what will happen, I promise you, because the guides are very clear about this, and they've been telling me this for over 7 days, which is something big enough, horrible enough, explosive enough has to happen for them to wake up and go, what? What do you mean the ATM isn't working? What do you mean all the planes are grounded for 4 days? I got to go on vacation. Come on now, I'm going to Disney World, right? Or what do you mean I'm not getting my check, my Social Security, my Medicare, my Medicaid? Where's it at? What happened? What do you mean that I can't get on this cruise because the countries that we're visiting are not accepting our passports? What are you talking about? That's got to be crazy, right? You're just joking. No, we're not joking with you. We're not joking with you. These are the kinds of things that need to happen to wake these people up so they can be I can never think of that word, disadvantaged, but they need to be, why can I never think of that word? Is this something to do with me? But anyway, I don't know. I can't think of it. But they need to have disruption in their life. When they have disruption in their life, they're going to wake up and they're going to be big mad. So let me give you the exact analogy that my spirit guides gave me. Imagine somebody that's asleep and they're sleeping good. They're getting that good sleep, right? And you're trying to wake them up. You're banging on their door. They're not waking up. You're banging on their window. They're not waking up because their house is on fire, but they're asleep and they don't care that their house is on fire because they're getting that good sleep. So finally, you break the window and you climb in and you get through their house and you get to the bedroom and you knock on the door and the door's closed because they probably got that good fan sound going and, they listening to some kind of thing and they sleep. You knock the door down, you get in their face and you scream to them that their house is on fire, at which point They wake up like a toddler does. When you wake up a toddler, you should never do that, by the way. You should never do that. But anyway, they wake up like a toddler does, and they look at you with those unfocused eyes, but they smell the smoke and they jump up out of their bed and they go, "My house is on fire. My house is on fire." They're not rational at this point. They're not listening to you. They run past you, leaving you in the burning house, I might say. They run past you, they run out of the house, they run down the street. They're not rational. They're totally not rational. They're not prepared for this moment at all. They never saw it coming. So then they're running down the street and you're like going, now what? Now what do I do? Except for that, what happens is there's actually several 100 million of those people who wake up at the same minute and go, our houses are on fire, and they run right past you. You're trying to say, hey, wait, I can help you. I need to tell you. They're like, get out of the way. You're part of the problem. Just be prepared for that. You and me are part of the problem. We're part of the same problem that the Republicans are. Everybody's a part of the problem because when you wake up a toddler, they're mad at everybody. They're not just happy with mom or dad or their sister or their brother. They're mad at everybody. That's America. America wakes up and they're mad at everybody because they can't get on their goddamn Disney Princess cruise ship, or they cannot watch the Super Bowl because the grid went down, or whatever it is that disrupts their life. And when you do that, they're going to be looking for that person who disrupted their life, and they're going to go for that person's throat. And that's probably going to be the orange guy or the robot dude or somebody like that, because that's who's responsible. Okay. So this is why something really big and disruptive has to happen, because we have to wake these people up. They're not waking up for us. We've been trying to tell them. And I'm not even talking about the MAGAs. I'm not talking about them at all. I'm talking about middle America. And these people are all colors, all races, all cultures. They don't care about politics. They think everybody's the same. They think the Dems are the same as the Republicans, and they think none of it matters to them, right? Maybe they sometimes go in VOTE, but sometimes they don't because it doesn't matter. They're going to find out that it matters in a way that impacts their very life, like their daycare is not available. What are you going to do? How are you going to go to work? Don't know, but all the licensing got canceled. Cannot open our daycares because 45, the felon, and the robot boy are over there pushing all the buttons going, what does this do? America is a very complicated situation, and they don't know. And they're just pushing buttons and pulling levers and shutting shit off. And maybe that's the EMS. Maybe that's 911 for the whole country. Maybe that's our FAA and all the planes are grounded for a whole week because they hit a button that nobody knows what button they hit. They can't remember what button they hit, but now it's offline and they don't know how to fix it because guess what? All the air traffic controllers left. Okay, so these things are likely to happen. I don't know which one. Pick one. It just has to be big enough to wake up the people who are not paying attention, who are an order of magnitude larger than anything the Dems or the Republicans or anybody else has. These people are a force onto themselves, like a force of nature, is what the guides are saying. And no, the answer is no, you will not do this. Okay. So that's the best case scenario. Believe it or not, that is the best case scenario. The best case scenario is, yeah, they break it so that everybody wakes up and goes, why is this broke? Who broke it? And then they hold everybody accountable, including the media, everybody. But I do need to tell you, they're not going to listen to you or me. They don't want to hear we told you so. They're going to be mad and they're going to be blaming you and me just as much as they're blaming everybody else. So the best thing to do is to get out of the way of the karma bus. Get out of their way. Say nothing. Please say nothing. Let them, all 17 million of them, march to wherever they're going to go. Let them do their thing. It's not, we are not part of this. They're the ones that have to fix it. We've been working our butts off night and day, losing sleep. They have not. They don't get it and they don't care. Okay. Now, the thing that could I have a lot to say, but I'm probably not going to go all the way into it. But the thing that could also happen is, let's say with the worst case, well, okay, middle. I forgot. They had best case, middle of the road, and worst case. Best case is really they break it. We don't get checks for a week. We're not going to die. Nobody's going to get checks. We're not going to die. You're not going to be homeless. You guys prepare like it's a winter storm. That's all I got to say. Prepare like it's a hurricane. Okay. You're not going to be homeless. You're not going to die. But those people whose lives are disrupted are going to feel like they're going to die and they're going to go berserk. Okay. That's best case scenario because this whole thing is over very quickly. Very quickly. That's what we want, right? We want it to be over very quickly. Like, let's take all our medicine, let's make the face, and then let's get through it. Okay. Middle of the road is, I think this is the worst case scenario. So I don't even know what they're talking about. Who knows what the worst case scenario is? Middle of the road is that, and it's kind of what's happening now, unfortunately, which is the Dems woke up yesterday, literally. I don't know what happened. They woke up yesterday and now they're leading protests and they're doing things and they're screaming and yelling and blah, 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 whatever that means. I mean, the media is not covering it. So it's like you're just shouting into, nothing. But anyway, but that's putting pressure on the administration. The administration is sort of pulling back a little bit. Now, when they pull back, what that means is they're going to another department. It's the same thing that he did the first time he was in office, right? Just flood the zone with crap. So nobody knows what's going on. The media can't, everybody's overwhelmed. I would say that you and I are overwhelmed. Okay. But the middle of the road is that he doesn't break anything, but he simply starts adjusting things, slowly adjusting things, slowly removing our rights, slowly removing government services, not enough that it wakes up the people. If he did this in a way that he could tiptoe around the sleeping person and light their house on fire and never wake them up, then that's how you end up waking up to Iran in like 1980 or something. That's how you wake up to everything has changed because it happens so slowly. That's how you boil a frog. Slowly. You don't turn it on high. I'm hoping they turn it on high so we all jump out of the pot and smack the guy with whatever we got. Okay? So that's the middle way. The middle way, this whole thing is a lot longer. The first way, this whole thing could be over by June. And I can go into that in a different way or a different video, what it looks like when it's over, right? Because that's a whole nother book to this situation. Like the guides say, we've never written this book. We've never written this chapter. This is all new. We don't know any of this. We don't have any history that's exactly like what we're doing now. Yes, there's a lot of overlay things, but it's how we're reacting to what's happening is new. Okay. So this whole thing could be over by June. The middle way, it could go on for a year. It could be a battle, right? So they try to take this away, we fight back and we get it. They try to take this away, they take it away. It's sort of like this battle of attrition, the guides are saying, where neither side is strong enough to win. And it's like you win, then I win, you win, then I win. To me, that's the definition of hell, frankly. That's not my favorite thing. I don't want that. Then the third thing, and I think it's the worst thing for different reasons. Okay, so the second scenario where it's a battle of attrition, that's kind of like politics as usual. That's when the Democrats said, oh, they're just putting forth libertarian policies. No, this is a coup. This is not libertarian policies. This is a whole freaking coup. So, but the third way, the way that I think could be the worst case scenario, And again, I don't think this is likely. I do not. I think the first case scenario is more likely based on 45's attention span, which is 0, based on his he's got to strike quickly. He's got to do everything quickly right now before everybody catches on. Okay, it's smash and grab. That's what he's doing. Smash and grab before everybody catches on. I think that's the most likely scenario is the first scenario. Shock and awe. America wakes up, America puts him in jail, we move on. I think the second scenario where it's longer and it's a game of attrition is less likely. And I think this scenario I'm about to tell you could be mixed into the first two scenarios. Okay. The third situation, the elements of this situation could be used in both of these scenarios, but more likely in the first scenario. And that is that I do see him. He's also looking for diversions and distractions. Okay. And if he could have a false flag and just Google what that is, but if he could create one and then utilize our military, then that would everybody would just fall into line. That would almost shock. Think about 9/11. The spirit guides have talked about this ad nauseum, to be honest with you, that we see a situation that is like a 9/11 happening. Now that can happen because they pushed the wrong button and cut off a payment, or pushed the wrong button and cut off all the towers. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that could happen like that. Or it could happen where there's a false flag and there's an attack and everything is stopped. The energy is always everything is stopped. Everything comes to a stop. Now think about it. If you couldn't get on your Disney cruise because the government did something and pushed a button and now or made countries mad so they're not accepting your passports anymore, or who knows what, any number of things, you're going to be mad at the government. But if there's an attack on us, you're going to be patriotic and you're going to be for the government. So that's why it's the worst case scenario. Okay, I get it now. So I can see that happening. And I would just say to you also that I saw him bringing troops down to Panama, and I can see him ordering troops to Gaza or wherever because he thinks he's king. He believes that he's king. Until someone stops him, he's going to do it. It's the bully energy we've been talking about. It's like until someone literally stops him, he's going to do it. Okay. So, but what I want to give you the heads up about the military is that what I got from that scenario was the military, and this is important for you to know, the military is happy to go along because they see it as an exercise, like, oh, this is awesome. Our troops need to get busy and have a mission. Okay. They don't see it as ever becoming a war or anything because they're not going to let it. But it could look like the optics of it could look like to you and me, like the military is co-signing or going along with his ideas. They're not. They're really not. But it looks like they are. And how that can happen is the same way the government employees are sabotaging what they're, whatever Musk's boys are doing, the military will also sabotage their mission. So just for instance, like a metaphor, I saw tanks being transported to Panama via ship, but then when they get there, they don't have the ramps to bring them off the ship. It's like, you didn't bring the ramps? Who was supposed to bring the ramps? You know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing, or they don't have enough fuel. The military will be like, oh, darn it, I forgot the fuel. We got all the way here, So it's going to look bad to you and me. And it's going to make Trump look like the big, man that he thinks he is. But the military is not going to just do whatever he wants. They're just not. And they're going to find ways like that to sabotage the situation from the inside out, which somebody just said is treason. Fine. Then I guess it is. I mean, this is the interesting thing because when Jan 6 happened, the spirit guides told me, what if you were on the other side? And I should have paid attention to that. I didn't understand. I've learned a lot. They kept saying, Susan, what if you're on the other side, saying that somebody's in the office that shouldn't be in the office and you're doing the same thing that they did? And they're not trying to say that he was right. They're trying to say that it's exactly the same energy of the media, and certain people won't let us say the ELECTION was stolen. They won't let us say it because that's what the MAGA says. We can't be like MAGA. So it's like we can't storm the Capitol because we can't be like MAGA. But one of these people is right and one is wrong. And that's kind of the definition of a civil war, right? That's the definition of we don't agree with you. I don't see that happening again because we, the people, when you read the Constitution, it starts out with we, the people. And here we are, we, the people, will stop this. Now, number one is that they wake up and they say, no, we're not going to do this. And not only do they wake up, but the states wake up. The great thing about our republic is that each of these states are quasi-independent and they have a lot of power within their state. They don't have to go along with this. Police don't have to go along with this. You know what they're showing me right now is, wasn't it in LA that the protesters were marching down the freeway and the police just backed up and left? And then wasn't it Venezuela where the police officers, or I don't know if that was Venezuela. There was some country where the police officers took their uniforms off. It might have been Syria, took their uniforms off and laid them on the ground and walked away. There are some bad apples, 100%. There are some bad apples in the police departments, in the military, in state government, but not enough. Not enough bad apples to turn this whole thing over to a dictator. So there's so many checks and balances here that are going to stop this from happening. But there has to be a trigger. If it's attrition, if they just do little things here and there and here and there and here and there, everybody's going to go along. We're going to be the frog in the pot. If something big happens, it's going to help us wake up and deal with it. So really, if something big happens, it's the best possible thing. It's the best possible thing. Even if you see military in Panama, Middle America is not going to care. I mean, they might be like a little worried if they have an 18-year-old son or a 17-year-old son, but they're not really going to care. It doesn't disrupt them. Unfortunately, we've become so, in a lot of ways, fat and lazy and privileged as Americans in general. In general, I know some of y'all are like, I'm not fat, I'm not lazy, I'm not privileged. Okay, pause this video and go look in India and then come back and tell me. Okay, I'm just saying. We are not certain countries. We're not. As bad as we are, we're not. And because of that, we're just not ready to fight for our privilege. We don't even know we have it. We don't even know what we have. Now, it's getting to the bleeding edge of that. Like, we can't afford food. We can't afford insurance. We can't, blah, blah, blah. Racism, all these things is turning up the heat. And that's when they're going to get that pushback. That's when they're going to be like, whoa, we never saw this coming. These people will not put up with it. So I don't see the military, the states, the police co-signing for any of this. I don't see the average American co-signing for this, but we need to be waking up and shook up so that we can see what's really happening and we can say, no, we don't want this. The last thing I'll say is that I saw once that happens and the military and the police say, peace out, we're not doing that. I can see a potential for him to bring in police or troops from another country. And they keep talking to me about Maduro to the point that my guides are giving me accent lessons like Maduro. I go around the house going, Maduro, 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 Maduro. I'm like trying to say it like I hear it in my mind, and I can't because I can never roll my R's. I just can't do it. But anyway, so that's important because they just keep repeating his name to me. So this man is going to be important to us in some way. He's going to end up in the news in some manner, even more so than he already has, because this is future, even more so, um, helping him out. Expect shock and awe. That's the best case scenario. Swear to God, the minute we wake these people up that are sleeping, and they have to have disruption, they have to lose something. They have to lose something. Right now, all that's happening, nobody knows anything is happening. Government is still doing everything it needs to do. I've talked about this in other videos, right? Like if the corporations, if the FAA, if he fires all of the people that run the towers, the air traffic controllers, well, then the airlines are not going to want to fly planes. I mean, they don't want to be responsible for that potential mistake, potential mishap, potential accident. So then they're going to lose money, and they're going to put pressure on 45. And if 45 doesn't care, this is important. If 45 doesn't care because he's getting money from some other country, he doesn't need your money, then they're going to put pressure on Congress. And guess what? Congress really cares about their money. They're money grubbing too. So they're going to put pressure on 45 in the form of impeachment articles. Okay. There's lots of levers that can be pushed to bring this crime spree to an end. There's lots of levers, and that one of them is going to get tripped, and one of them is going to work. The last thing is that, and I may even put this in the beginning of the video because it's so important. Here's the thing, you guys. I am being censored. I am being throttled. My videos are getting 50% less views. 50% less views. And it's not because you don't want to watch them. It's because you're not seeing me. They're not showing you me. I already know this because I was looking for my subscriptions. I'm like, hey, I've got 30 minutes. Let me watch one of my fellow political people's videos. And I couldn't, it literally said your subscribers have no new videos. So you're seeing me less. I know you're seeing other people less. You just don't know it yet. So they are quashing us. They're censoring us. They've done it on Threads. They've done it on Meta. They've done it on Facebook. They've done it on TikTok now. They understand that we are restless and we are going to be some kind of mad. And they also understand there's a lot more of us than there are of them. So whoever you watch, be sure to go looking for their videos. Just check in on their channel every day or every other day and see if they have a video. If they have, watch it for a few minutes and click the like button, just so that even though they're suppressing it, the video can get enough likes and subscribers to kind of boost it a little bit. So it's not squashed to here. It's actually going to be here. It's still not going to be where it was. The guides tell me this is temporary. They also tell me it's for my own good. They're actually trying to hide me. So I appreciate that. That's good. It was a little alarming when it first happened, but they're like, no, we got this. This is what's supposed to happen. I do have a online community where there's a whole political side, there's a whole spiritual side, and all of it is connected. Plus, I have guest presenters giving you presentations on astrology, on tarot, on psychic, everything that you can imagine. Plus, I'm there presenting to you 4 hours a month, including offering readings on the membership. In the membership, all of this is $12 a month. You can join, you can cancel anytime you want. But what it is a port in the storm. It is a place where you can go during this time and find each other and talk to each other and support each other, because it's incredibly important. As they throttle down our videos, you're just not going to be able to find them, and you're not going to be able to, communicate with your people. And you need that more than now ever before. The guides have always said, find your community. Be a place where you guys can all gather and you can share. I do not gatekeep. So you can share videos or dreams or ideas or articles. You can share and communicate with each other freely, without being censored, without being worried that somebody's looking. Like in my paid group, I have a lot of government employees, right? Because there's a wall there. They're safe. They can talk there, right? Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only,